And we're back on the Fowler Show. It's time for your political maniacs. Yes, indeed, it's true. So for the first time in show history, this is not a secret for me, because I'm the only person doing the show. Booyaka. So it's not a secret. I know who the maniac is. And I mean, I guess it's a toss-up. So this maniac, I guess, goes to two people, but it's really one person. So we found out late last week that Donald Trump pardoned Sheriff Joe Arpaio. So I guess the maniac here is a twofer. Joe Arpaio, Donald Trump. So we'll just call it Trumpaio. Trumpaio is tonight's maniac. I'll tell you the story, and then we'll talk about it. So this is how it goes down. Donald Trump's presidential pardon of disgraced former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio drew sharp reaction from social justice groups on Friday. Several Latino organizations, the NAACP, the American Civil Liberties Union were among groups expressing anger and dismay that Trump would excuse a man convicted of misconduct related to racial profiling of Hispanics and immigrants. It is hard to imagine anyone less worthy of a pardon or mercy of any kind than Joe Arpaio. That is what the president and CEO of UnidosUS, one of the nation's largest Hispanic civil rights groups, said in a statement on Friday. By pardoning someone who has done nothing to earn it, President Trump has further cemented his upending of both presidential norms and common decency. And I tend to agree with that. Now, let me explain to you my rationale on why I think this Joe Arpaio pardon was bad news bears. So, number one, the Joe Arpaio, Sheriff Joe Arpaio was the sheriff of Maricopa County. In 2008, in June of 2008, the George W. Bush, yes, I said it, the George W. Bush Justice Department opened up an investigation into whether or not Sheriff Joe Arpaio was engaging in racial profiling against individuals of Hispanic descent in Maricopa County. George W. Bush. This is Alberto Gonzalez, right? So this is the George W. Bush Justice Department opened up an investigation. And the results of their investigation were rather astonishing, to the point where federal judges, not state judges, federal judges appointed by both Democrats and Republicans said, Sheriff Arpaio, now remember, Sheriff Arpaio, the fact that he is a sheriff makes him an officer of the court. He is an officer of the court, right? Meaning he is an officer that is supposed to listen to the judge. The judge is the head of the court. So he's an officer of the court. The judge said, Sheriff Arpaio, your officers are engaging in racial profiling, which is a violation of the Fourth Amendment of our Constitution of illegal search and seizure. I am ordering you to stop this behavior immediately. The sheriff didn't listen, so much so that his department doubled down to the point where they stopped investigating other types of cases, including rape, robbery, theft, grand theft larceny. Although they stopped investigating those cases and just focused on profiling people who looked Hispanic and calling them illegal, to the point where they detained individuals who didn't happen to carry their citizenship papers in Maricopa County. This guy's disgusting. Period. Both conservatives and conservatives and Democrats agree. He's like scum of the earth. He makes all law enforcement look bad. Period. I mean, he was known for arresting just Latinos who were driving home from work, who were American citizens. There's proof of this. There's court documents. So anyway, he disobeyed a court order. So another judge said, Sheriff Arpaio, you are violating the Fourth Amendment. I need you to stop. The sheriff did not stop. It wasn't until December 2016 had run the Maricopa, he had sort of, run into an iron fist. He was convicted in July of criminal contempt for disobeying court orders to stop discriminating policies and practices that targeted Latinos. In 2011, a federal judge had ordered Arpaio to stop detaining people he suspected of living in the U.S. illegally, even when they were not suspected of committing any crimes. The contempt conviction is a misdemeanor offense that could put the former sheriff behind bars for up to 6 months. Trump, who backed Arpaio as part of his promise to crack down on illegal immigration, said Arpaio's year of service and principled stance on immigration earned him the pardon. But remember, local sheriffs have no jurisdiction over federal immigration laws. That's what the ICE is for. Like, that's Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It's not the local sheriff's job. He was also known for having chain gangs and making gay people like myself, right, wear pink underwear and humiliate. That's what you call a violation of the 8th Amendment, right? Cruel and unusual punishment for prisoners, right? There's multiple lawsuits against him. So the sad part is he ended up losing his election for Maricopa County sheriff, but he left the taxpayers of Maricopa County a $70 million bill from lawsuits on racial profiling, where he was found, right, culpable of engaging in racial profiling, and the damages that he was sued for was close to it was over $70 million, right? This guy is sick. He's a sick and disgusting individual. And the fact that Donald Trump decided it was a good idea to pardon this individual, not commute a sentence, because a commutation says, I know you're wrong, but I'm going to release you on time served, is different than a pardon. He pardoned him saying, we don't think you did anything wrong here. But it's very clear that this individual violated the rule of law in the United States of America. He violated our Constitution. Let me be very clear with you, America. Our Constitution is written in black ink, right? And it says that you do not search and seizure. You have the right not to be searched and seizure without a warrant. You have the right not to be detained without habeas corpus. And the fact that this sheriff engaged in the type of behavior, and our president, who's supposed to represent all Americans, not just white America, not just black America, all Americans, pardoned a sheriff that literally took our Constitution and ran it through a paper shredder, speaks to the fact that this president has little to no understanding of the American Constitution, and he will stand by people, he will stand by law enforcement that believe in abusing our Constitution. I'm not really sure what's worse, that he doesn't know American history, or he's willing to stand behind people who are supposed to protect and serve, who don't protect or serve. And I think that's what's so disheartening about this pardon, and that's why these two individuals are the maniacs of the week.